Good evening, and welcome to the Beaver Sports Show. I'm Josh Warden.
I'm Jenna Lane.
And I'm Jake McGrady.
Thanks for joining us tonight as we table talk last weekend's two games for OSU's women's volleyball.
The OSU Beavs faced off first against Utah in a Friday game that was donned the Spike Out Cancer event. The fans donned pink t-shirts and foamies to celebrate the event.
The Beavs gave it a valiant effort, but after going 4 rounds, the game eventually fell into Utah's hands with matches of 22-25, 25-23, 16-25, and 14-25.
OSU led Utah in kills, digs, and assists, but Utah pummeled them in blocks and only had 15 attack errors to the Beavers' 35.
So let's talk about Sunday's game against Colorado. We had a rough game, coming in close in the first match with 28-30, but we failed in the second and third with ending scores of 21-25 and 23-25.
Becky Defoe had some great digs, and she topped off her total at 17 for the game.
And I know it's tough for the team right now because, as the coach said, they're on a losing streak, so it's tough to be aggressive, especially at the end of the sets.
Yeah, the Pac-12 is really strong this year. Every other team in the conference has a winning record overall.
Yeah, and on top of that, 5 teams within the Pac-12 are all ranked in the top 25. So, you know, there's some steep competition this year.
Yeah, even a team like Washington State, they're 13-0 out of conference, only 2-6 in the Pac-12.
And you guys can catch the Beaver game in action on November 2nd as they take on Arizona State at 6 p.m.
The fall homecoming game for Beaver football is fast approaching, and students are getting in on the action. On October 27th, students began lining up at Research Stadium to get their hands on the coveted homecoming tickets that weren't available until the next day. Our correspondent Katie Beasley was on the scene early in the morning to get a glimpse of what it was like for the students.
So we've got Katie with us here right now. Why don't you were out there really early, like 4:30?
Yeah, I got there right at 4:30.
What was the atmosphere like? What were the fans like out that early camping out?
Well, people are just starting to wake up because they need to be out of their tents and have them all put away by 5 to get in line and make sure you get your tickets. But some people were super excited. Some people were like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired. And it was pretty cold, so.
So from the people that you talked to, what was the earliest that a fan had actually started to camp out for the tickets?
At the beginning of the line, the guys that were there got there on Sunday at noon.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's dedication. Yeah.
All right, so the Beavers heading to that big game on Saturday, coming off that 49-17 win over California, and now heading into a big game against Stanford after 6 straight victories.
The biggest game yet.
Right. And Oregon State hasn't put together a 7-game winning streak since the end of the season in 2000.
Yeah. And I think that the key to this game is going to be our offensive line and how they show up, because as we all know, Trent Murphy on defense has been an absolute monster for Stanford. 7 sacks on the season. 5 of those sacks have been within Stanford's last 3 games. So leading within to that is going to be how we're going to handle Stanford's pass rush defense. That's going to be a big factor, I believe.
Yeah, and the biggest way that Oregon State combat that is with the screen game.
Yeah.
And Storm Woods has done that this season. He has more receiving yards than he has rushing yards, and that's really going to be key down the stretch. In fact, after Utah leads the Pac-12 in sacks, the next 5 teams in the Pac-12 are the next 5 opponents for the Beavers. So it's really going to be key to get the screen game going.
Right. And Katie, what are your thoughts on the game?
I think it's going to be a really tough game. It's going to be close. It's definitely going to be a battle, but I'm really excited to be there. It's going to be really fun for everyone who's there.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah.
All right. Well, it looks like that's all the time we have for tonight. OSU football's homecoming game against Stanford is this weekend, Saturday, October 26th, with kickoff at 7:30 p.m. Tune into the game, and we'll see you next week with full coverage of the action. I'm Josh Warden.
I'm Jenna Lane.
And I'm Jake McGrady.
Thanks, and have a great night.